Well, thank you very much for being here this morning. My name is Mark Pagano, and I have the privilege of being the Chancellor of UW-Tacoma. And what is going on here this morning is exactly what we like to do as a university in this community. Today is the 2016 Urban Studies Forum. The title is Alternative Visions of Livability, Choices, Cost, and Consequences. And what we hope to have here today is a conversation. I know we have an esteemed panel, and as an urban serving university, I like to say our university is of the people, by the people, and for the people of this region. And part of doing that is serving as a safe place to go express ideas, hear dialogue, maybe even some opposing opinions on some of these topics that come to us in everyday life in the city of Tacoma and the surrounding region. So we feel this is right in our wheelhouse, so to speak, of what we should be doing. Of course, we're also teaching the 4,700 students that we have here too, giving them great degrees for their careers in the future. But this is also what we really like to do, and thank you all for coming. Now, I want to introduce one new person to our community before we get started, and that is Dr. Melissa Labbit. She is our brand new Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, in charge of our academic enterprise here at the university, and she's been here 6 weeks now, so welcome her to this community. And then the next person I want to introduce to you, many of you know, he is the grand poobah of urban studies and in charge of today's event, Ali Medeiros.
Thank you, Chancellor Pagano. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for being with us this morning. And thank you all for being here. It's great to be at a university that understands the meaning and commits itself to working with the community and seeing university as that public space that we need for conversations, sometimes about topics, as the Chancellor mentioned, very difficult one. But before I start and delve into this issue, I also want to take a moment to thank those who make this possible for us. You see their names up there, but I like to mention the names one by one. Once again, if you didn't hear my name, Ali Medeiros, Director of Urban Studies. For those of you who I have not met, please make sure that I say hi to you before you leave today. I'd like to thank our supporters. They are Pierce County Regional Council, AHBL, BCRA, Conversations Regarding Tacoma, Dwyer, Pemberton, and Colson, Exit 133, FLT Properties, Gray Lumber Company, Master Builder Association of Pierce County, Helix Design, Neil Walter Company, Newland Communities, Rush Companies, Cyber Contractors, Inc., Tacoma Pierce County Health Department, and Urban at UW.edu, which is a system-wide collection of faculty members and researchers and students who are dedicated to the topic of urban and urban issues. We are thankful for your generosity, which allows us to bring this important conversation to everyone here and through broadcasting of the tape later to those who could not attend. I'm sorry they could not attend, but it looks like the room is full, so we'll take it from here. I also want to thank one individual who has been instrumental in the support of this event, and he could not be with us, but I have to mention his name, Mr. Sean Comfort. He was an absolute champion, and for those of you who received his call, you know he's very persistent in making sure that you support our event. So thank you, Sean, in absentia. I also want to thank our board members. Some of them are here. I'm just going to ask them to get up for 1 sec so that you can see who they are. These are the advisory board members who mentor me. Thank you so much. And are here today to make sure I behave myself. So that's pretty much their job today, to keep an eye on me. As in previous years, we have chosen a topic that is both urgent and challenging for this and other regions. This is also a complicated topic, hence the need for public discussions. Not unlike sustainability and urban resiliency, livability is a shape-shifting concept that is interpreted differently across time and space. For us today, it consists of multiple factors ranging from safety to clean streets, of course without potholes, multiple and adequate shelter, access to healthy food, quality education and healthcare, walkable communities, adequate urban services, parks, entertainment, and doesn't matter how many people you ask, the list goes on. One can argue that concerns about livability have been an integral part of our history as a species. We can trace this obsession back, and excuse my academic moment, back to the Greek father of urban planning, Hippodamus, who in designing Miletus hoped to create a rational social order, almost a Faustian moment. It is clear that as soon as planners and designers got involved, livability was assigned a form, and within that form, a role for the arts. Particularly the theater was made central to this thinking. The Western engagement with this topic has lasted through time, to the Renaissance period, and through Vitruvius of the Roman era, and so on and so forth. Many designers have tried to create livable cities for different times and different places. One, in fact, is struck, and if you have ever been to museums to look for that, one is always struck by the number of drawings across the ages that draws under one topic, ideal city. Ideal city has been drawn for centuries as what they could be. In the 19th century, form and function were mixed with the health and housing movements, the City Beautiful movement, Garden City concepts of Ebenezer Howard, Clarence Perry's neighborhood unit concept, circa early 1900s, and Clarence Stein's proto-suburbs, which actualized the Garden City concept where all exercises in formalizing ideas about livability were put into practice. In fact, one of my favorite, the Boston 1915 movement, was nothing less than an ambitious will of a few planners to fix the city. What city? The city of Boston, that they imagined within 5 years they were going to make it the finest city in the world. I'm sure residents of Boston would reflect on that and the 1960s plan, and they would say, we don't see it. It hasn't happened. Perhaps livability is an aspiration, a process, and not a finished product. We are never completely done. We always want to do better. Livability discussions are our way of saying what we want more and what we want for the next generation. One of our colleagues in the Journal of Applied Geography about a year ago wrote an article in which the authors propose that in fact livability is a series of needs and wants. And those needs and wants change by people who ask for them and the places where that question comes up. Livability does not mean density and downtown living for everyone. Livability can be pastoralized on the foothills of the Cascades and given multiple interpretations in Tacoma, Auburn, Frederickson, DuPont, Manhattan, Hong Kong, and no, I am not going to mention the city north of us. Given the complexity of this topic, we have chosen to focus on two aspects of livability that have remained constant in our historical deliberation: the built environment and the role of the cultural institutions. The latter has become a hotly debated topic inside and outside academia. The panels this morning will engage with these topics, helping us think about livability in its plurality, covering rural areas, suburbs, small to mid-sized cities, and larger cities. Many of these are working-class communities. We can all agree that livability should not be a privilege set aside for those who can afford it. Collectively, our panelists will bring years of experience despite their youthfulness. The first panel, focused on the built environment, will offer you ways of thinking about livability across multiple geographies. The intention is not to valorize particular definition of livability that can be labeled as Energizer Bunny urbanism. You know what I mean by that one. 20, 30-something, working 24/7, working hard, playing hard, and in reality, trying to enjoy life as much as they can. We also can agree that not everyone aspires for low-density suburban living. What I'm hoping for this morning is a boundless discussion of livability, diversified in its meaning and decommodified in its implementation, be it in the cities, in the suburbs, or in rural areas. The second panel will also engage with a number of questions regarding the role of cultural institutions in creating livable communities across different spatial scales. This panel will be both educational and critical in its engagement with this topic. We are particularly interested in hearing their thoughts on the role of cultural institutions in urban and suburban regeneration. You will hear a number of great examples of what is being done here and across the country. I've asked for, and some of the panelists will discuss the current funding mechanisms that enhance the role of cultural institutions in their respective communities. It would be enlightening to know why and how philanthropists, public and private sector funders get involved in such institutions. They will also tell us about some of the forthcoming state and federal government funding mechanisms for creating what is called creative districts. I'm sure my academic colleagues in the audience will appreciate that conversation. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Jason Schupbach, Director of Design at the National Endowment for the Arts, will bring the topic of both panels together in his talk during lunch. As you can see, we have a great plan for you. I hope you stick with us and hear all the conversations that happens today. But this is not the only time and only place we'll talk about it. Urban Studies plans to carry this topic throughout the year in a series of lectures and events. And in fact, our partners, Conversations Regarding Tacoma, have decided to also focus on livability in their fall edition. So I invite you to attend all those events. And I also invite you to attend to one particular lecture we're going to have in April, on April 7th. I think the flyers are outside, you can see that. It's going to be given by the president of Forterra, Mr. Jean Duvernoy, who will deliver a talk calling Not Hating Growth, based on a recent survey of residents of Puget Sound. We have a full year ahead. We look forward to seeing you, and we will have lots of fun together this year, hopefully. With that, I would like to invite the first panel to join me on the stage.